The sun bled its last light over the red earth hills of Yumwofia, painting the sky in wounds of orange and purple. In the compound of Nneka, the evening fires were being lit, but the one in her heart had long been cold ash. For 5 years, the space beside her on the bamboo bed had been empty, a void that echoed with the ghost of a man's footsteps retreating. Okechukwu had left not with a bang, but with a slow, withering silence. The disappointment after their third daughter, Ifeoma, was born had been a physical presence in their mud brick house. Nwunyam, he'd finally said, his voice hollow as a gourd, the ancestors are silent to us. A man needs a son to hold his name when the wind blows him away. She had begged, her tears watering the yam seedlings she tended. She had prayed at the shrine of the earth goddess. She had even, in her desperation, swallowed bitter concoctions from the dibia until her body was frail. But her womb, it seemed, was destined to bloom only flowers, not the sturdy tree he sought. The day he took his goatskin bag and walked down the path to his brother's compound, where a younger, hopeful woman from a distant village waited, a part of Nneka died. She was left with 3 pairs of wide, watching eyes, her beautiful girls, Kayamika, Adana, and little Ifeoma. The village labeled her Agbala, a childless woman in the cruel logic of men, and turned its back. She survived by selling her yams and weaving intricate baskets, her fingers flying as if to weave a new fate from palm fronds. The seasons turned. The sharp pain of abandonment dulled into a constant ache. Then, like the first gentle rain after a harsh harmattan, came Emeka. He was a quiet carpenter from the next valley, a widower whose wife had died in childbirth, leaving him with a daughter. He saw not a failed wife, but a woman of unbreakable strength. He admired the straight lines of her yam ridges, the laughter she still conjured for her girls. He began to help, mending her thatched roof, leaving carved wooden toys for the children. Love, when it came, was not a fierce fire, but the slow, steady warming of earth ready for planting. It was in the shared kola nut, broken in silence. In the way he called her Nneka, mother of many, with a reverence that spoke of her true worth. When he asked her to be his wife, he did not speak of sons. He spoke of partnership, of merging their 2 broken families into one whole. For the first time in years, Nneka felt seen. Their wedding was simple, a gathering of understanding souls. A year later, in the small hours of a dawn washed clean by rain, Nneka's world cracked open not with the familiar pain of labor, but with a new, profound tremor. The midwife placed a squalling, robust baby boy on her chest. The cry that filled the hut was not just a baby's first breath. It was the sound of a curse shattering. Emeka, kneeling beside her, wept unashamedly. He named him Chabiz, God is King. The news traveled through the villages like a harmattan wind, but in Nneka's compound, it was met with a joy that was pure, untethered from old boasts. Emeka doted on his son, but with a profound tenderness, he would gather Nneka's 3 daughters close, calling them his first blessings. Chabiz thrived, a laughing boy with his mother's thoughtful eyes and his father's strong hands. Meanwhile, in a larger, showier compound of Okechukwu, a different story was unfolding. His new wife, Ngozi, had swollen early and enormously. The village buzzed with certainty. This was the son, the heir, finally arriving. Okechukwu had already commissioned a new hut, boasting of the boy's future. The birth was long and difficult. When the old midwife emerged, her face was not triumphant, but etched with a strange, solemn pity. "You have been blessed with 3," she said. "All strong, all beautiful girls." The silence that followed was thicker than the forest at night. Triplets, a marvel, a sign of immense fertility, yet to Okechukwu, it felt like a cosmic joke. 3 more daughters. The laughter of the village, this time, was behind his back. The whispers followed him. "The seed is in the man," they murmured, "and his seed only grows female." One market day, their paths crossed. Nneka was balanced on a stool, selling her baskets, Chabiz tied snugly to her back with a bright cloth. Emeka was beside her, feeding Ifioma a piece of sugarcane. Okechukwu, looking older and thinner, was passing by, a solitary, sour figure. His eyes found the baby on Nneka's back, the unmistakable vigor of a son. He saw the calm strength in Emeka's posture, the radiant, unburdened peace in Nneka's face, a face he had only seen etched with worry. He saw her 3 daughters, now confident and bright, clustered around a man who looked at them with pride. For a fleeting moment, their eyes met. In Nneka's, there was no gloat, no vengeance. There was only a quiet, deep well of a peace he would never know. She had not been blessed because she had finally borne a son. She had been blessed because she had found a love that valued her soil, not just the fruit it could bear. Her worth was never in her womb, but in her heart, and it had taken a man who understood that to make it bloom. Okechukwu looked away first, the bitter truth settling in his gut like a stone. He had traded a woman whose roots ran deep for the promise of a branch that never came. He walked on, the joyful noise of Nneka's family fading behind him, a living testament to a simple, brutal truth. Sometimes the universe does not punish with lightning, but with the quiet, relentless grace of a happiness you were never wise enough to earn.